Okay, so I'll just wait 1 more minute to start. Seeing now everyone joining. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. Great. I'll start now. So welcome to our webinar. My name is Isabela de Villafranca, and I will be your host for today's webinar, Cost-Saving Renewable Sourcing Opportunities in Your Supply Chain. So today we will be sharing some insights of what we've seen works in the supply chain and in APAC to source renewables. And we'll be sharing some challenges and opportunities. We'll be also sharing some ways to navigate these challenges across APAC. And please feel free to ask any questions along the session. There's this Q&A feature below. Please feel free to add any questions and we'll make sure to either address them live during the session or afterwards we'll reach out to you. I am joined today by my expert colleagues, Wenyin, Chiru, and Jingwei. They're all experts in renewable sourcing in Asia Pacific. And now I'll hand over to Wenyin for her to introduce herself.
Thank you, Isa, for the introduction. So, hi everyone. My name is Wenyin. I'm the associate consultant with South Pole's Renewable Energy Solutions team. My primary focus is on Greater China market with additional coverage in the Greater APAC region. So I'm supporting clients in navigating renewable energy sourcing strategies, as well as help their supply chain partners to decarbonize. And now I would like to have my colleague Chiru to introduce himself.
Yeah, thanks, William. Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Chiru. I'm based in South Pole's Bangkok office. I mainly look over the projects in Asia and Pacific, focusing on the decarbonization of the supply chains and also renewable energy sourcing and renewable energy strategy. Yeah, nice to meet you all.
Hi everyone, my name is Jingwei, and I'm the managing consultant at South Pole. I'm based in Beijing. I'm primarily focusing on renewable energy solutions in China and also APAC regions. Nice to meet you.
Great, thank you. So we have seen a lot of demand and a lot of momentum from companies to set Scope 3 targets and mainly SBTIs. These Scope 3 targets mainly translate, obviously, on emission reductions. We know for a fact that sourcing renewables is a very effective way and it's a quick way to reduce emissions effectively and easily across supply chain and also own operations. So I guess the main question here, and I think it's a great one to start, how do you see companies supporting their supply chains to source renewables? Wenyin, what do you think?
So what we've seen, there's typically three approaches. Firstly is through knowledge building, through workshops and providing market-specific guidance. And secondly is like through mandating suppliers to source renewable electricity. And the third way is to directly offering aggregating opportunities to suppliers through aggregated REC sourcing or PPA sourcing, so that suppliers with very low consumption volumes can also join the aggregated opportunities.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, I think we've seen all of these solutions work parallelly in many situations. I think it comes up to the fact, actually it depends on the relationship the suppliers and the brand have, and also the kind of incentives and financial mechanisms they want to include. But having like a combination of them or selecting one of them depends on a cases by cases. And yeah, it's very, very interesting to define what works best for each industry. So I think now I'd like to hear some examples of what has happened in, for instance, APAC. Chiru?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, as Wenyin has mentioned, we do see a similar approach taking across different markets in APAC. For example, in Vietnam or in India, where we see companies first to provide their knowledge building workshops to their suppliers, And then the second step they take is like identifying the suppliers that have the highest potential for decarbonization, and then group them in similar suppliers with similar volumes into 2 to 3 suppliers together as a group or a cohort, forming a cohort, and then going out into the market and then launching an RFPs to source renewable electricity. So this is what we have seen in markets like India and also in Vietnam that really worked well.
Jingwei, I think you're speaking, but you're muted.
Yeah. Thank you, Chiru and Wenyuan. So we actually have similar experience in implementing PPA implementation and helping our clients' supply chain to decarbonize in China as well. So what we have helped companies do is to help them to set their RE targets for their suppliers. So company often requires suppliers to meet a minimum renewable electricity targets for their operations, typically align with the Scope 3 decarbonization goal. And this target may be integrated into their company's procurement guidance, and so also incorporating in when they're sourcing vendors. And also the way we usually help the supply chain to procure renewable energy is to aggregate demand for economic scale across different multiple suppliers to enable like a bundled or group PPA implementation by aggregating their total aggregated electricity consumption per year for each province. And then the way we help them is to reduce their per unit costs for suppliers, and also leveraging the aggregated consumption to negotiate with the power sales company for better offers. So yeah, I think that this is what we have experienced and seen in the market can actually benefits the clients in reducing their costs when sourcing renewable electricities.
Thank you, Jingwei, and thank you for sharing specific insights. This is very interesting. Building on that, let's touch upon what opportunities do you see across Asia Pacific to deliver cost savings? Wenyan?
So basically, across APAC, we've seen cost saving opportunities in India and Vietnam, followed by China and Malaysia. But Thailand is also opening up slowly for PPAs via the direct power purchase scheme and the pilot VPPA scheme. So maybe my colleague Chiru and Jingwei can talk more about the market details.
Definitely, yes. Yeah, as Wenyan has mentioned, we have seen some substantial savings in India and in Vietnam through the open access, or in India, it is referred to as power purchase agreements are referred to as open access, where we have seen substantial savings of as high as 35 to 40. In Vietnam, based on our recent RFPs for our clients that also want to decarbonize their supply chains, we have seen a savings as high as 25% compared to the sourcing the electricity from the grid. So these two markets are really on the upfront in providing savings to the companies. And also Malaysia, as Wenyan mentioned, Malaysia and Thailand do have a physical PPA scheme available. Malaysia do provide cost neutral or relatively cost saving potential as well. Thailand, it's still in the pilot phase, so it's in the still nascent stage at this point.
Thank you, Chiru. Yeah, I mean, 40%, that's huge. Don't easily achieve through through many measures. Jingwei, we've seen that renewables have grown a lot in China. So I think recently it was around 64%, right? And 64% of global increase of renewables. And that's actually 3 times the second largest market, which was the US. So what can you say about what's happening in China? What opportunities are there?
Yeah, thank you. I think there's definitely some opportunities for corporates to source renewable energy in China, and also having some potential cost saving by switching to renewables. One of the benefits to sign a multi-year PPAs in China is to avoid any premiums for purchasing unbundled certificates, because unbundled racks will always be additional cost on top of their usual electricity cost, right? So, but in China, you can actually sign a multi-year fixed or partially fixed price contract with the power sales company, which help the clients to have a predictable cost of electricity in the long run, and saving any additional cost to purchase unbundled certificates. Because if you need to reach your targets, you have to reach by either buying bundled or unbundled certificates, right? So by signing a multi-year bundled trading contract like PPAs, which actually give you a potential on saving additional cost in the long run, right? And also, at the current stage, we are seeing some cost saving around sometimes around 5% or even more, depending on the province we talk about. So some province we will have a better saving. Some province we might have less, more actually paying premiums. So that's why we usually advise to our clients to prioritize province with better RE pricing, and to do a PPA first, then gradually move into the more challenging markets. Yeah.
Thank you,
And also,
Jingwei.
yeah. Just one more thing I want to mention is that it's usually a good practice to try to negotiate favorable terms with the power sales company, which can usually willing to offer attractive pricing if you are willing to sign a longer term contract, because the power sales company in China are looking to build up their market share by fixing a longer term collaboration relationship with their clients. So all this is a potential opportunities for cost savings in China.
Great. Thank you so much, Jingwei. Now, what are some market-specific challenges companies are facing?
Yeah, so the first one we've seen is definitely like a lot of uncertainties in regulation. So unlike the North America or European power market, which is more matured, most power markets in APAC markets is still emerging. So that means there will be more frequent policy changes. And secondly, is from the technical perspective, we've seen a lag behind in grid connections from the rapid growth of renewable uptake and the need for infrastructure upgrades. Yep.
Yeah. I think that actually the same thing in China. So we are seeing some geographical limitations in terms of transacting renewables from a more RE rich area to a more high demand area. For example, in China, usually there's more renewable electricity supplies in northwest of China, like Xinjiang and Mongolia, as comparing to some of the municipality regions like Beijing, Shanghai, and Chongqing, right? But they're due to the limitation on the infrastructure to transmit renewable electricity from across different provinces, and also the interprovincial trading policy has been the government are encouraging interprovincial trading, but the implementation are still limited. So that all this is a challenging and limitation, which causes a higher price in certain key demand centers like and also a lack of consumptions in those more of a RE abundant regions. Maybe Chu, you can also talk about like in other APAC regions which might have the same issues.
Yeah, similar. Like we see a similar challenges also. One is like the great congestion, and two also regarding the ever evolving regulations that always change, and especially in countries like India, where the regulations are governed at a state level for most RE sourcing options. So navigating the complexities of the ever evolving regulations is one of the key challenges that we see in the market as well. And also the other challenge we see from the consumer's point of view is that their consumption is scattered across different states. And this again leads to a complexity of navigating through different state regulations and then sourcing across multiple states at the same time. So this is where we see most of our clients struggling a bit. I think one way to mitigate this would be to working with someone like a third party or an advisor who can help navigate you through these challenges and then knows the market quite well and understand the regulations quite well, would provide you with a better advantage of navigating these challenges.
Fully agree to you. An excellent point. Now that you've touched upon mitigation to these challenges and risks, maybe Jingwei, you can also share some ways to mitigate these challenges. China.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I just mentioned, there's a limitation in terms of interprovincial tradings, and there's a price difference across different regions depending on where you're actually located. So the way we advise our clients is basically to conduct a market assessment for the location they have operation or the supply chain has been located or are located. To see the supply and demand balance in those key provinces before committed to do a RFP, to run an RFP or do actual PPA implementations in those areas. So after you have conducted this market assessment, then you need to to prioritize the province with the lowest price and the most aggregated consumptions, then trickle down into the rest of the province. So we can do you can start by doing some pilots for those more key demand and cost saving, have more cost saving potential province before you move to the rest of the province. And also some other risk considerations and challenges we have seen before is there's some lack of recognition of GECs, the Chinese official recognized certificates in China. Previously, our clients have some concerns, see if there's international recognized by RE100 and other international initiative in terms of exclusive claim of energy attributes values. So those concerns has largely been resolved following by the recent policy updates and change by the Chinese government and also recognized by the RE100. So in 2023, the Chinese government actually designates GEC as the sole proof of renewable energy consumptions in China. And then we are also seeing a phasing out of IRECs in China after 2025. So basically, there's in the future, there's no double counting potential risk between GECs and IREC in the future, right? And also, in 2024, last year, the policy has actually potential issuance of CCR to avoid double counting. So after all this policy rolled out in this year, RE100 actually just recognized China's GEC as fully compliant with the International Environmental Attribute Claim Standard. So this is a good news for our clients, so they can actually being confident in sourcing renewables in China without to make credible claim for their renewable energy usage in China.
Yeah, in the end, the credible claim is one of the most important things we can hold on to in the end of any strategy or measure we take to comply our targets. So Wenyin, in terms of navigating challenges, what summary could you provide the audience or advice?
Yes.
Advices, yeah.
So I think both Jingwei and Chiru got like really good points. Like, yeah, just to summarize the points. Firstly, you have companies have to select the right suppliers to partner with. So a more experienced and proactive supplier often have deeper insights and then better access to the local market resources. And the second thing is to choose the right locations. So in larger markets like India and China, so market conditions can vary significantly by region. So choosing the right state or province is very important. And then companies would like to choose the state or province with the most favorable regulatory environment. And thirdly is to select the lowest risk project. So you would like to choose a project that are in advanced stage of development, which means they have obtained the necessary permits and approvals already. Yeah, that's my summary.
Thank you, Wenyun. That was a very nice tied summary. So now, looking at the time, we can perhaps start wrapping up by looking into the future. Again, I'll pick up on you, Wenyun. So how do you see the future of renewable sourcing across Asia Pacific?
So I would like to talk both demand and supply. In terms of demand, we've seen like most companies have covered their scope 2 emissions. So we think the focus in the future will be targeting on decarbonized scope 3 emissions. And then also most companies have covered their emissions within Europe, like more advanced economies in Europe or America. And then the future focus would be like supply chain decarbonization in APAC regions. And then in terms of supply, we've seen there's like more markets opening up in APAC markets, meaning that there will be more opportunities for PPAs in the future.
Yeah, I think in China, I think that the price gap between across different province, or we say the imbalancing of RE pricing across different province will be narrowed down going forward as the grid infrastructures continue to improve for interprovincial trading, and the interprovincial trading policy become more feasible and efficient and being implemented across different provinces. I think the price gap across China will start to narrow down more and more. So you can actually purchase more cheaper renewable electricity across different provinces in China. And also looking into the future, the RE price is likely to stabilize and increase towards 2030 as more companies' target is to commit their RE strategy towards the 2030 target point. So as the time starting to go, then the price of electricity for renewable electricity the demand for renewable electricity will start to increase quite a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, just echoing on what Wenyun and Jingwei has just said. I think it's going to be the renewable electricity sourcing is going to increase rapidly in the market. We have seen this trend over the last few years where there have been a substantial increase in the PPA transactions in APAC region, especially in the growing markets. And I do believe that it's going to be even more in the coming years because mainly because of the companies increasing commitments towards sustainability and renewable energy targets, and also to decarbonize their supply chains in line with their international commitments to net zero or SBTI or even to RE100. And the second one is also increasing electricity prices from the grid, right? As we to renewables, signing a long-term contracts either through PPAs or like through long-term agreements, then you secure your company from the future electricity price volatility, and then also have a reliable source of electricity across all your operations. So I'm just summarizing what the other two have said.
Thank you, Chiru. Actually, we have some questions from the audience just before wrapping up. The first one, Chiru has already answered, but I think it would be nice to answer verbally. So the question is, amazing insights, thanks so much. For India, where are you seeing the highest cost savings? Which states are most attractive?
Definitely. So again, when we talk about cost savings, we have to always keep in mind it does vary by state to state and also the structure you are contracted. So in India, the open access is available under two different structures. One is the captive group captive structure, and the other is a third-party structure. So the savings that we said are possible from the group captive structure, where the government currently has incentives or waivers in place for most of the states. for group capital structure. Thereby, we are seeing a lot of savings under this structure, mainly in the states like Maharashtra and Karnataka, where we see the highest savings as high as like 40 to 45%. In some cases, it can even go higher to 50%, followed by states like Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and Uttar Pradesh, where we see substantial savings in these states as
well. Great, thank you, Chiru. Now, some questions for Jingwei. Well, it's actually 2 in 1. So the first question is it already possible to sign a multi-year offsite PPA in China? And the second one that complements this question is, does it make sense to sign a multi-year PPA in China when power prices are going down?
Yeah, I can first answering this one first. So yes, it is possible and it's available to sign a multi-year PPAs in China. So most province of it's Isabella, are you still talking or?
No.
Okay, so in most province has the multi-year PPA implementation. It's possible through signing framework agreements mostly. So even though some provinces like Zhejiang and Jiangsu they allow a max of 3-year annual procurement contract to be signed, but the usual practice is to sign a multi-year framework agreements and renew the procurement contract on an annual basis. So this is how we actually facilitate those multi-year PPAs in China. And the question is about, does it make sense to sign multi-year PPAs in China when the price are going down? Yes, there's always speculations in the markets. If the price, the people think, okay, if the price going down, why we are fixing the price for multi-year, right? So, but in general, we are seeing the demands for renewables continue to increase as more companies will need to reach their targets towards 2030. So, like for example, and 2 years before, the people are not in the rush to figuring out the solutions for PPAs in China because they have 7 more years to wait before they actually need to reach their targets. But when it more like 5 years, 2 years later, then there's more companies saying, okay, we actually need to find a solution before we actually run out of time, right? And also some companies are also having the incremental targets, so they need to improve a percentage of their renewable energy coverage on an annual basis. So like a 50%, 60%, 70% going towards the 2030 target. So every year the percentage will increase. So the demands in the whole market combined will increase. So that's what I'm just saying. Like the demand for renewable in China will start to increase, which will cause the cost for energy attribute value to increase. Not necessarily the electricity price, but in general, demand for renewables will increase. So yeah, that's my answers.
Thank you, Jingwei, and thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. I hope it was insightful. I'm also sharing on the chat on our business developer email contact, so you can reach out with any questions and we'll make sure to get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.